Hey everyone, welcome back to Tan's Top 10 channel. So I got a little life update to share with you guys. Last weekend, my wife and I adopted a 1-year-old puppy named Gizmo. This is Gizmo. Um, Gizmo is what you would call a Velcro dog. So he will not leave my side. Anywhere I go, he just follows me. And it's very difficult to shoot a video with a dog that follows you everywhere. So my solution is just to have him in the video, and we'll just see how this works out. So today's list is going to be my top 10 opening scenes in movies. This is spanning every movie ever made. So this is going to be a big list, a lot of heavy hitters in this list, and there's just so many that you could choose from. So honestly, if you guys have some that aren't on my list, please share down below what some of your favorites are. These are just my personal favorites. So obviously I'm going to have a lot of honorable mentions as well. So let's just get right into the list. So my first honorable mention is The Dark Knight. This is just an iconic opening scene with the whole bank heist, with the Joker, the introduction of Heath Ledger's Joker. It's just one of the best introductions to a character ever, but it also is like a cool heist because all the robbers are like picking each other off. So that's an awesome opening scene. Love it. My next honorable mention is Halloween. This is the tracking shot following Michael Myers killing his sister. Probably like a couple, at least a 3-minute long tracking shot. And then the most shocking part of this is at the end of the scene where the parents arrive and they take the mask off, and it turns out it's a kid that did the killing. So that's pretty shocking. Opening scene right there sets the mood for the entire movie. So awesome opening scene. Another honorable mention, The Godfather. Honestly, like the whole I Believe in America speech is just iconic. And you also get the introduction of Marlon Brando as Don Corleone. Just awesome, awesome dialogue, monologue. Perfect. Love it. Going to another gangster classic, Goodfellas. The whole all my life I wanted to be a gangster speech, and then it just goes straight into From Rags to Riches, I believe is the song. Perfect opening scene, and just like the burst of violence with the guy in the trunk. I love it. Next up, Zodiac. This is a terrifying opening scene with the two kids driving in the car and going off to that cliff, parking lot, whatever, and then pretty much just getting murdered. But it is such an intense opening sequence, and it just sets the mood for the entire movie. And my last honorable mention is a movie I don't really talk about too often, but Star Trek 2009. This has an awesome opening scene, and you really needed to have an awesome opening scene in this movie because this is a new Star Trek movie, so you have to impress the fans and new people, new people coming into the franchise. And I think they pulled it off excellently. You got Chris Hemsworth right before he was Thor in this, playing Captain Kirk's dad, and his sacrifice to save James Kirk and his mom. It's just an awesome opening scene, and a lot of emotion too. So that's one that not a lot of people talk about. All right, starting off the list at number 10 is a movie not a lot of people have probably seen. It's called The Last Boy Scout. This one right here. This is a double feature. Talking about The Last Boy Scout though. This is a movie from the early 90s, I believe. And the opening scene of this movie follows a professional football player who, like during halftime, he gets a phone call saying from these mobsters, pretty much saying, you either better score a touchdown this half or we're going to kill you because you're in gambling debt. And so he goes out on the field and he's like pressured because he's got to score a touchdown, otherwise he's going to die. So what does he do? While he's running with the football for the end zone, he pulls a freaking gun out of his pants and starts shooting the defensive players and like killing them so he can score the touchdown. And he scores, and then he kills himself on the field. And it is a crazy ass opening scene for a crazy ass movie. If you have not seen this movie, it is completely bonkers. And that opening scene just sets the mood and the tone for the rest of the movie because you're like, what the fuck? I've never seen anything like that. And I remember seeing this movie when I was really young. And I was like, holy shit, that was the most violent thing I've ever seen. So, Last Boy Scout coming in at number 10. Crazy ass movie. Coming in at number 9 is a classic, Jaws. Everyone knows this opening scene. You got the young guy and the young girl going swim out in the water, skinny dipping in the water in the ocean, having fun. The guy gets out of the water. The girl stays in there. She's just treading water, and it's starting to get dark out. And all of a sudden she gets pulled under. And, you got the creepy Jaws score from John Williams. It's just one of the best scores of all time. Everyone knows it. And you're just like, what the hell? Like, what's happening? And all of a sudden she gets pulled under. You're like, whoa, wait, what? And she is screaming, getting like tossed around in the water. And then she gets pulled under and never comes up. And you're just like, what the fuck? What just happened? And the guy's laying on the beach. He doesn't even know anything happened, which is kind of weird because the girl's screaming her head off. But yeah. And then the water just goes quiet, and you're like, holy shit, we're in for a crazy movie. And it's just one of the best opening scenes of all time. So number 9, Jaws. Coming in at number 8 is Inglourious Bastards. A lot of people, might have this higher. I love this opening scene. You got the introduction of not just Christoph Waltz's character, Hans Landa, but Christoph Waltz as an actor. This is like his introduction to America as an actor, and he just blows everyone away. You are like intrigued by this guy because he's so like professional, he's so like calm, but he's also like so sinister and evil, and you just know like this guy is interrogating this poor guy who's just hiding Jews under his floorboards in his house, just trying to keep them safe. And you know that Hans Landa knows that he's hiding Jews in his house. And you're just like, please don't find out. Don't. And it's pretty much a 5-minute long scene of him just talking to this farmer. And it just slowly builds the tension until he just like, you're hiding enemies of the state, are you not? And you're just like, fuck. And it is just one of the most well-written opening scenes, one of the most intense opening scenes. So, Glorious Bastards, Christopher Nolan, Quentin Tarantino. Wow, that was a really big mess up. Quentin Tarantino definitely knows how to make an opening scene work. All right, coming in at number 7 is a little bit of a cheat. You guys know sometimes I like to bend the rules with these lists, but I'm throwing in 2 movies for this one. It's The Town and Heat, 2 of my favorite heist movies, 2 of my favorite movies of all time, honestly. And having a heist right at the beginning of your movie is one of the easiest ways to get me into your movie. Dark Knight, obviously, has one of the most iconic ones, but these 2 right here I love, absolutely. So let's talk about The Town first. You got these bank robbers just sitting in a van, rush into a bank, and they got these scary-ass masks. Say that 10 times. Wow. Scary-ass masks. That's hard. Anyways, you got them rushing into the bank, and you can just tell right away, these guys are professionals. Like, they know every single thing to do, and they take one of the managers hostage and pretty much drop her off right at the ocean. And it's got like one of the best like cuts from a shot to the title card. I love that shot of Rebecca Hall just standing in front of the water, and then it just cuts to the title card. It's one of my favorite like shots ever. So that one just sets the mood for that movie perfectly. And then Heat, it's pretty much the same thing. Like right away, these guys are professionals. You got like Robert De Niro just walking through like a subway station, I believe, or train station. You got Val Kilmer like picking up explosives, and you're like, what the hell? What's going on here? Like, I know it's a bank robbery movie, but what's going on here? And then they just take down an armored truck, and the sound design of like the armored truck getting tipped over. Holy shit, I love it. And it just sets everything up perfectly. You got the storyline of Waingro and everything, and pretty much from that point forward, this movie's just running. So, awesome opening scenes for heist movies, 2 of the most iconic ones for me. Coming in at number 6, we got another Quentin Tarantino one, and that's Reservoir Dogs. The reason this is on the list is because the diner scene in Reservoir Dogs might be my favorite Quentin Tarantino scene. It's up there. I love the dialogue in the Madonna like a virgin conversation. It's just so perfect. You really get to understand like all these characters' mentality. And one of my favorite things about this is when they all throw the tip money. Oh, well, obviously you got the tip conversation as well with Steve Buscemi. That's iconic too. But when all the people throw the tips in and the guys are like, wait, someone didn't tip. There's actually an kind of Easter egg, kind of a nod to who the rat is Mr. Orange, because he's the one who rats out, oh, Mr. Pink didn't throw a tip in. So if you watch this, just keep an eye out, because it's kind of like a little subtle nod to show you who the rat's going to be later in the movie. I freaking love that opening scene. Some of the best dialogue in an opening scene ever. Coming in at number 5 is my favorite horror movie opening ever, Scream. I actually just watched this back in October, and it held up so damn well. You know, obviously you got Drew Barrymore, who is like the most famous person on the poster of this movie, and so you're like, oh, she must be the final girl, and she's killed off within like the first 10 minutes of the movie, and you're like, holy shit, like there's no rules to this movie. And you know, you got the whole conversation between her and Ghostface, and him asking questions about horror movies and like, do you like scary movies? What's your favorite scary movie or whatever? And it's just so like witty, but it's also pretty damn scary. Like I was watching this by myself at night, dark, and I was getting a little creeped out too. So it's a super effective opening scene, and it's just one of the most iconic horror openings ever. Coming in at number 4 is The Lord of the Rings. I'm going to go with The Fellowship of the Ring. I mean, honestly, you could pick any of the 3 movies for the best opening scene. You got Gandalf versus the Balrog in Two Towers, and then you got kind of like the introduction of Smeagol in Return of the King. Those are both awesome opening scenes, but I got to go with The Fellowship of the Ring because it's the introduction of this world. And there was just so much pressure on Peter Jackson to not only get fans of the book series into this movie, but also just normal people coming into it. And you got to introduce them to all these, like all the lore in the world or in this movie. So I think the introduction with Kate Blanchett's narration is just perfect. You know, you get so sucked in. You got this epic battle. You know, it's not a super long battle. It's a couple minutes maybe. But it's just like everything about pretty much what happened to the Ring of Power. So it's a perfect opening scene to help set up this world that you're going to be spending how many hours with. It's incredible. Great job, Peter Jackson. In at number 3 is Saving Private Ryan. Now, I know technically the opening of this movie is the old man walking to the cemetery, but I'm counting the D-Day invasion as the opening scene of this movie. The storming of the beach. Holy shit, this is brutal. It is one of the most harrowing, but like, you were just in this battle, this invasion, and you're just like, holy shit, I can't believe this actually happened in real life. This must have been the scariest thing anyone's ever had to go through. Like, and it just puts you in that battle, and you feel as just as helpless as the people like watching it. And you're just like, God damn, I would absolutely hate to be in that situation. Like, war is hell. That is what this opening scene shows you, is that war is hell, and men are just breaking down from, like, people are crying for their moms, and it's just like, holy fuck, I wouldn't, it's just like one of the most impressive opening scenes ever, like from a filmmaking wise, but it's just so hard to watch because you're like, fuck, that actually happened in real life. So it's just iconic, and you just have to have it in your top 10 opening scenes of all time. All right, coming in at number 2 is the third Steven Spielberg movie on this list. I'm going with Indiana Jones and the Last Crusade. A lot of people would probably have Raiders of the Lost Ark on here. I love the Raiders opening because it's the introduction of Indiana Jones as a character. Indiana Jones is just one of my favorite movie characters of all time. But I actually really like the Last Crusade opening. So it starts out you following these like Boy Scouts going through this cave, and all of a sudden they come across this guy with a bunch of people doing like this treasure hunt, and you're like, oh, the guy leading the treasure hunt is Indiana Jones. But no, it's Indiana Jones is actually one of the young kids, so it's kind of an introduction to a young Indiana Jones, and he gets to go on this little adventure through this train, and you kind of see like how he gets a scar on his chin. You got the bull whip. It's just, I love this opening scene. You got an awesome score by John Williams. It's just like one of the most rewatchable opening scenes for me. Like I said, Raiders of the Lost Ark is awesome opening scene. Temple of Doom has got a good one too, but Last Crusade, it is my favorite indie movie, and it's got my favorite opening scene too. Steven Spielberg just knocks it out of the park with an opening scene. But coming in at number 1, possibly the most iconic opening scene ever, The Lion King. Everyone knows this opening scene. It's just one of the most epic openings, you know, with the sun rising on the horizon. You got an awesome score by Hans Zimmer, who did win an Oscar for this. This has one of my favorite scores ever in a movie. You got all the animals like coming together. It's beautiful animation, some of the most beautiful animation you'll ever see. And then just like the camera like panning up that hill, and then you see Pride Rock in the background, and you're like, holy shit, this is like more epic than I've ever seen an animated movie be. And the rest of the movie obviously is just as epic. Honestly, it's just like, I think without the score really carries this opening scene, but obviously the animation too. And also in just like the pound to the title card, you know, you get introduced to Simba and Mufasa, but there's like no dialogue. It's just all the music. And then it just goes, The Lion King. And you're like, fuck yeah, like, let's watch this. And that's how I feel every time I watch this movie. I'm like, if I watch that opening scene, I'm watching the rest of the movie because it just sucks you right in. So Lion King, just one of the best opening scenes, and it is my favorite opening scene of all time. And Gizmo was napping. I'm sorry, buddy. So guys, that is my list for my top 10 favorite opening scenes in movie history. Please share down below what your guys' list would be. I mean, we're talking about every movie ever made, so no one's answer is going to be wrong. And I'm sure I missed a bunch of them. Like, seriously, these are just my personal favorites. You could throw any movie down below and you're not wrong. So please, like I said, comment below. Also like, share this video, and subscribe to the channel if you have not. And also, please check out my TikTok account, Tan's Top 10. I got a couple videos on there. I'm going to be posting a video very soon on my thoughts of the Halo TV series so far. I've watched the first 2 episodes, so kind of just want to give my thoughts of what I think of the series so far. So please watch out for that. And Gizmo looks like he needs a nap, so I'm going to go get him up in his bed. So we'll see you next time, guys. So bye, Gizmo.